Hello, everybody. Nice to be back in London. Like every year on the day before ILMC, and I'm very glad and honored and all those things, all those feelings to be part of GI every year in a row. I think I come for five years in a row. So thank you very much for having us. Last year we started already with a session on less environmental, more social aspects, and we continue this. By the way, my name is Holger Schmidt. I am the anchorman for Green Issues for Europe, the European Festival Association. I am one of the founders of Go Group, Green Operations Europe, together with Teresa and some other colleagues, and we are partners of a greener festival from the very beginning of Go Group. So we're very close friends. In the first years, we very much concentrated on environmental issues, on green issues. In the past 2 years, in the past 3 years, we took a step further and we're more talking about responsibility in different ways. In the environmental way, responsibility towards environment, but also towards society. And while our society is changing in different ways, we feel we need to talk about how we in our branch, in our festival scene, should work with this, should deal with this, should think about how does this affect us. I am glad to the program says wider environment, nationalism, and climate change denial. A couple of days ago, we decided to keep the climate change denial topic out because otherwise this would be a 2-hour session, and we all know that climate change is just a hoax from the Chinese, so we don't have to talk about it. Come on, the American president said that, and who wouldn't believe him? Now this leaves us to wider environment nationalism. We were with Go Group. We ran a couple of sessions on that topic. At Eurosonic, it was called "Keep on Rocking in a Free World." Last week in Oslo, it was called "Love, Peace, and Populism." We might find a couple of good, fancy, good-sounding names for a topic but somehow serious. What we want to talk about is maybe the question: how political could or should events be? Should festivals be? Should maybe organizations be? Are they political by their existence, or is entertainment what they're there for? And maybe there's situations where it's very good to be political or more political, and maybe there are situations where it isn't. And I'd like to find out a bit about that. Now I'd like to introduce the speakers to you, and I'd like the speakers to introduce themselves, maybe shortly, who you are and what you do. Fruzsina.
Hello, good day or good afternoon. My name is Fruzsina Szép, and I'm a board member of Yourope, the European Festival Association, and I'm the festival director of Lollapalooza Berlin, and I'm a big supporter and fan of the topics that you nice people are talking about this today here. Much respect for the organizers and for you also for being here, and thank you that I can also share this nice table with these nice gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Stephen Budd. I'm the chairman of the Music Managers Forum, which is the UK trade association that represents artists, managers in many territories around the world. And I co-founded the Africa Express project with Damon Albarn, which we'll talk about in a minute. And I've co-founded the NH7 Weekender festivals in India, as well as a festival in London called One Fest.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ivan. I'm one of the founders of Exit Festival in Serbia. Also, I'm a board member of Yourope. I'm involved in festival, working with the festivals like 17 years. I'm a director of programming and program manager for Exit Festival.
And you work in several countries, don't you?
Yes, we have other festivals as well. We are a small country, like 6 million people living in Serbia. So like Exit Festival, when it started 17 years ago, it was like, how to say, like Glastonbury for the region. Like we are the first one who opened with the music countries for like all countries. We've been in war before. Like it was like a couple of thousand Croatians, a couple of thousand Macedonians. It was like a really big thing when we started. And it started politically. And now we have other festivals in Montenegro, Croatia, and Romania.
Yeah. That's would be the next question I wanted to ask you to slowly slide in. When you started in the business, and this is a question to all of you, and maybe we just go the way back and start with you, Ivan. When you started, what made you start in the business? What was it? Maybe because of the arts, or because you wanted to produce or share music with people, or was there already maybe a political focus?
It was already political focus when we started, but before that we organized several events, and actually, if we're gonna start to speak about it, there's like a small background before that. It was like 90s was like hell for Serbia. We had several wars. Like first there was like a war with three sides, like Muslims, Croatians, Catholics, and Orthodox. That was the first one, like from 91 till 95. After that we got a bombing on 99, and it was like literally 10 years people was leaving country, like simply all youth, all like future doctors and good high professional people, everyone left the country. And it was like the way when we will start to studying on the faculty, and it was like a huge protest against isolation and embargo and everything what we had at the time, because someone tried simply to isolate us. You remember 90s internet wasn't that common thing like now, so they start to block the internet and everything what was like craziness at that time in Serbia, and we find a way with the music to organize the events, collecting a lot of people. Actually, it was free events, but still it was like great to organize them. Of course, they being 100% illegal, and like there was a plan if someone coming to bust us, who is running where, and that was like actually how we started, like 90s. Then we start with the Exit Festival in 2000, and it was whole summer. It wasn't usual like we are speaking now for the festival. It was more like cultural summer in the city. So it was like over a whole summer, 100 days with 2 stages. One was for the theaters and the bands. Other one was for the dance music. But it was like 2-stage festival with like cinema, theaters, music, and we combined acts was from the region. Like there wasn't international acts, no one was coming. That was also important fact, like for Serbia, like from 90s till 2000 there was no international bands, no ticket sales, nothing, like completely zero, like a desert. So at the time we start to go to the Szép Festival, which was like in Budapest, and we like of course went there to see our favorite acts like Pearl Jam, David Bowie, and others, and that was like some kind of inspiration for us as well to start to work on a festival and to build up a festival. We didn't plan to be like this, but it seems that it's good.
So an Exit then started that you it was more like bringing the people to vote in the 2000
that was like
elections?
In the middle of the Exit first one, because it was whole summer. We didn't know it will be elections on the end of the summer, actually in September. and when they announce elections on the end of the September, then we use actually 30 days of the last 30 days of the festivals to ask people to get out and vote, because everyone lost the faith in the voting, because obviously everyone know that Slobodan Milošević at that time was stealing the vote. So people didn't see the purpose to go to vote, because they know in the end someone will steal all those votes. But like motivation and speaking and then actually combining youth to change that, we did it. And he against all the votes, but then everyone came on the streets, and that was his end.
Thank you very much. Stephen, how did you... Actually, there's a third microphone we can share all of them.
Oh, okay.
Hi. How did you start?
Cripes. I started as a roadie when I was 15 years old for Hawkwind, and funny enough, at their...
You're still here, that's good.
Half of me is here. And interesting, I was thinking, how is that political? Well, they were a free festival band, right? And the first proper paid job that I ever had was as a stage manager, age 16, at the Watchfield Free Festival, which was a very political festival, which was it was an attempt by... We'd had the Windsor. You probably heard of Stonehenge Free Festivals and the Windsor Free Festival, which happened in the back garden of the Queen's. We just invaded Windsor Great Park and set up a festival in 1974.
I ran a free festival most of my career.
Right. Yeah. Well, definitely there was no money changing hands at this one, and then the following year we were approached. This bunch of kids. We were all kids, and we were working out of a pub in Kingston, and the government came to us and said, "We don't want you to go onto Windsor Great Park next year. Do you want to? If we give you some money, will you go away and set up? And we'll give you a festival site on an old Second World War abandoned airfield in Swindon." And we did, and we had a festival for 3 weeks with 50,000 people, with traffic, Hawkwind, gong. Oh my God, I can't even remember. And there was so many drugs involved that it was. It was very interesting. Anyway, it was that was a very, very long time ago. But it was political. It was a political. It was. The free festival movement was an anarchistic movement, and it sparked something in a lot of people. And I think in me, it kept. It was the initial flame that kept alive, thinking that music could make a difference to people's lives and change things on a grand scale. And it certainly did for me.
But you said the flame grew, but it was when you started by being a Hawkwind backline or roadie. That was just to be part of the. That was just to be part of the music business. Oh my God, anything I can do. I'll lift boxes onto the back of trucks. I'm sure most people in this room have had that feeling, and then luckily for me that it turned into a career for one way or another. But that's a long way from where we came to with starting Africa Express, which was another whole game. When was that? Okay, and why was that? Africa Express. It was a project that came out of a conversation that happened after Live 8. Okay, so Live 8 in Hyde Park, which was ostensibly about dropping the debt in Africa, and was really had some laudable ideals behind it, except that there were no African artists playing, and it was like, hang on a second, and it kind of like we were causing a fuss about it, and eventually they said, yeah, we'll bring some African artists over, and they brought some African artists and got them to play in Cornwall. It's like, that's not kind of right, and then a bunch of us got together and decided that we wanted to change the profile of African music and take it out of the world music box and give it another kind of identity and connect it to a much younger audience. And world music was a fantastic idea. You had to have somewhere in the record shop that you could put these CDs that you couldn't categorize anything else, so let's create a category called world music. But it had kind of run its course, and it was starting to limit it, and the only people who were going to world music gigs were your dad, right, and your Uncle George, and the idea was that we were going to spread it out to younger people by collaborating with Western musicians
together with African musicians.
When was it?
Well, the original, it was 2006,
Yeah.
and we started by Damon Albarn reaching out to a group of musicians, and we took 15 musicians out to Mali in West Africa for a week's of playing with Amadou and Mariam and Baba Mal and Salif Keita, who were all in Bamako at that time. And those musicians we took out was Martha Wainwright, the guys from The Roots, Jamie T, Damon Albarn, Zane Lowe, Norman Cook, a whole bunch of people. And that was the birth of Africa Express in 2006. And then the idea is a very fluid idea. It's not fixed around. We're not concert promoters. We're a not-for-profit organisation. But what we do is exist to shine a light on the incredible quantity and quality of African music and take it out of its kind of context and deliver it to an audience who wouldn't normally listen to African music. So we've put on events over the last 10 years doing massive shows with 100 musicians, 50 African, 50 Western, collaborating together, rehearsing for a couple of days at Glastonbury Festival. Famously, we kicked off in 2007. I can't remember. You would remember. It was 2007 on the Park stage. We spent a day beforehand running around the different stages at Glastonbury saying, we're going to do this amazing thing on Saturday night. Come, you don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to do it, right? And then everybody turned up, and then we threw a 8-hour jam session together live in front of 5,000 people, no rehearsals, and it was quite epic. And then we organised different trips to Ethiopia, to Nigeria, to the Congo, to Mali, and took out groups of musicians, everybody from the Chili Peppers to, Franz Ferdinand, all sorts of people, and got them to play with African musicians. And then we made movies, albums, films, put on big concerts in Paris. We took a train around the UK for 7 nights, with 50 musicians on it, and did 7 shows in 7 nights as part of the Olympics. And then last year, Damon said, hey, I worked with all these Syrian musicians, right, in Damascus in 2010 as part of Gorillaz, and he took these guys on tour. He said, look, I know it's not Africa, but would you guys help see if you could reunite the Syrian orchestra? And so he asked us to do that. And we stupidly said yes, not knowing what was about to happen.
Before we dive into that,
Yep.
Was there one on? And if so, which was there? Was there a bigger goal for Africa Express? Like, this is what we want to achieve. Why we ask other bigger acts to play with them.
There's no end goal to Africa Express. The idea is that if it's valid, we'll keep doing it, right? If it feels
what makes it valid?
What makes it valid is that we're producing wonderful and exciting events that feel that they've never been done before. Collaborations, okay, so we've done Roskilde for the last couple of years, headlined Roskilde, right? So 2 years ago, we did a 7-hour show to close Roskilde Festival with 80 musicians. Okay?
Is that where they have to carry him out?
They had to carry Damon off the stage. We had to send somebody at 4 o'clock in the morning to pick him up because the audience wouldn't let us go. They kept going and kept going and kept going. But unfortunately, the PA was turned off at this point. So there wasn't a lot of point in him going back on stage. So we had to send Big Dave, our tour manager, to pick him up and carry him off the stage. And it went viral, and millions of people saw that fantastic clip. Go online and look at it. It's fucking funny. But then last year, Roskilde was gracious enough to invite us back, and we took the Syrian orchestra. And in fact, we took it to various festivals around Europe. The Holland Festival were the first people to say, look, we want you to do this, and they were the initial sponsors. Then Glastonbury, and we opened Glastonbury on the morning of Brexit. Can you imagine that, right? The first thing that people see when they come out of their tents is the Syrian orchestra on the Pyramid stage. We arrived there 15 minutes before we went on stage, and that's a 70-piece orchestra. Think about that. That was another thing. That's
you started on time.
Glastonbury mud getting in, okay, but we got there, and we did that. We started on time, and then we went to the Royal Festival Hall the next night, and we sold out the Royal Festival Hall, of which we've made a double album. I'm going to show you a quick clip of the Royal Festival Hall. Would you like to see that?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a 3-minute clip. So play. There's a cross. Oh, that one. Is that it? Yeah. As an ex-roadie, I'm really technical.
I'm ready now.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Ready?
But now bring the drugs, please.
Yeah.
We have them tested at Boom, and then we take them.
Turn it up.
Superb. Thank you very much, Stephen. Fruzsina, how did you come to what you do now, and was there any political thing involved?
Yes, very much. Though I'm born Hungarian, and but my blood is very mixed. I have a Central Eastern European blood, Polish, Transylvanian, Slovak, and Hungarian, and I'm very proud of that. I was 6 years old when my parents decided that we should leave Hungary. That was in 1985. I was 6 years old, and that was still during the communist regime in the Eastern Bloc. And I was a small girl, but I still remember every single picture. It is burned into my memories. How we left the country. I did not know because my mother was afraid that I would tell this at the kindergarten, and you were not allowed to, obviously, to say such things. So I knew that we would go on holiday to Czechoslovakia. Back in the days, it was still Czechoslovakia, because Hungarians could go to Czechoslovakia. So, but it was not Czechoslovakia. It happened to be Munich, so the western part of Germany, and so I was lucky to have a really nice childhood in Munich. I could grow up there, but I never left my my Hungarian roots, and I always knew where I come from. But I grew up bilingual and with two cultures, and due to the fact that we escaped from Hungary, the why is, it was not because of me, it was because my parents, they wanted to have a better life for my big brother and me. And my father was back in the 70s and 80s politically very active. He was kind of a freedom fighter. He was fighting for the good spirits, for the good stuff, but also in those years that was not so very well seen. And I'm very proud of my family, and I'm very proud of my father, because he taught me many things that makes me the person I am now today. And he also taught me to see things differently. And he said that he could say that really powerful, because he was blind. So that's how. So I see the world with not only with my eyesight, but with all of my senses. That's what my father taught me too. And music has always been a very strong part in my life, because my father, he always played the piano at home. And we grew up very musically, and with theater. And I already, when I was a small girl, I went to some dance classes and courses and stuff like that. But that panel would be very long now if I would continue the story of my life. And maybe we would need some nice candlelight and a couple of good bottles of red wine, maybe later on. But I was like 16 years old when I had my first summer job, and like you, I was working as a roadie on a stage. Even girls can be roadies. And I somehow stayed in the music industry, which I'm very happy about, because I love what I do. I live what I do, and I'm very passionate about what I can do. And I love organizing festivals. I love to create a full experience for our festival goers when they enter a festival site, because in my view a festival doesn't matter in which country we speak about, but a festival is a gathering of so many nationalities, of cultures coming from all over the world. It doesn't matter what religion you have, what skin color you have, what gender you have, what sexual orientation you have. You are there, and when you enter a festival site, that's your home to be for those days you are, and the family are those people that are on the festival side. And these amazing artists that we have the possibility to program. And I'm not talking only about music, because I'm also a big fan of contemporary circus, of dance, of theater, of comedy, of literature, of good quality and healthy food, good quality drinks on our festivals, because that whole thing makes the festival experience for our visitors. And I truly believe that with our events, we can change wrong mindsets. We can provide positive energies. We can provide feelings, emotions, positive feelings, create memories, create experiences for our for our visitors. And these are moments where maybe they don't have such a happy life, but they can take that back home and take it again from their memory if they are not in such a good situation in their life. And I'm, as I said before, I'm board member of Yourope, the European Festival Association. And 2 years ago, we organized the first European Festival Conference. And we, among us festivals, we kind of also discussed, who are we? You know, what are we festivals? What do we stand for? What can we give back to audience? How can we make the world a better place? As romantic as it sounds, but yes, we discussed these things, these philosophical terms, and we ended up by creating something that we are going to launch actually today. So my dear Claire, this was a perfect timing. And it is an initiative that is called Take a Stand. And the initiative is about how in our world today, what can we as festival promoters or people working in the music industry, in the culture industry, or every single individual sitting now in this room, how can we do something that makes the world a better place, that keeps our world a better place? And can I read just this?
I think yes.
So, my dears, because I know it's a short panel and I don't want to take so much time, but I wanted so this is our logo. It's a heart. Everybody understands a heart, I think. And so this mission, this movement, we call it a movement. It's Take a Stand, and I just want to read you our philosophy why we created Take a Stand. It is time to take a stand for Europe and indeed for the whole world, to create a movement encouraging social cohesion in our society, promoting awareness of tolerance for all cultures, genders, races, religions, sexual orientations, colors and origins, to motivate people to participate in politics and social activities, speak up for a peaceful dialogue for humanism, tolerance and mutual understanding, to make the world a better place for every single individual and for all of us. So speak up, be active, show solidarity, be open-minded, tolerate and respect. That's why we, as the European Festival promoters, we want to take a stand, and we don't want to put ourselves into the ground and wait till other politicians all over the world or in Europe want to destroy what we believe in and the world we want to live in, together with these cultures, together with this colorfulness and the positive thinking, and also the meaning of what is it to be human. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Fruzsina. Okay, that's it. What to add after that? Yeah, we actually this describes what I wanted to say after you told about yourself. I wanted to say that I find it very, very touching and fascinating, the three histories of persons that you just shared from Ivan, Stephen, and you. How different it is, but we end up all on the same table, and seeing that with different perspectives, it somehow links very much together. And now what you described about Take a Stand, which is intended to show we still want to have the ground that something like Africa Express or the Syrian Orchestra is able to perform what they do, and Ivan, for example, who came out of as you did, but you said while you were living in the country, where was war. No 20 years passed, and then you overcame that, and you started something when the war was over. Still there. We grew up and we started our businesses in a time where we were free, or almost very free, to do what we do, and now we feel and experience that it is not that easy anymore. Our dear friend Michael Kaschak, for example, from the Slovak Republic, he was awarded by the president of Slovakia for his he's running the Pohoda festival, and he was awarded for his cultural work in the Slovak Republic. The president is a more liberal left-wing president. The prime minister is a right-wing guy. They were very offensive and were very against him being awarded, which led to, when he got the award, in the first row, the prime minister and other ministers were sitting like this, and then they refused to come to the event afterwards and giving their speech because of that. That's one of our friends in Europe who's experienced that. Fruzsina told me last week a good friend of her was a concert promoter from Istanbul in Turkey. He closed his office, he closed his business. He now starts a job in Germany as a promoter. Luckily, there's a network that helps him, but there are a lot of people, for example, in Turkey, who might not have this network and will not be able to continue their work in the music business because of political changes. We all know in Turkey, for example, 170 media were shut down, 150 journalists are in jail, and it's not that far from oppression against the press to oppression against cultural institutions, and this is so close to what we do. And we already have that in Eastern Europe. In Poland, we have friends in Poland who have to deal with things like that. So this happening, and we all know that in all our countries, for example, more right-wing and nationalist movements are sort of taking place, and we as cultural people in the cultural in cultural events, in working in cultural institutions, can we at all not raise our voices? But there might be other situations, and we talked about that, Stephen, when you described the Syrian orchestra, where you said this is not meant to be political.
Well, it's political in the sense that we want to shine a light on the culture of Syria, that there's something more to Syria than just war, you know, and the orchestra themselves came from both sides of the political spectrum. And, you know, we took them out around Europe. We took them to Istanbul, which was amazing that we got to perform the Syrian orchestra in Istanbul for 5,000 people. That was the morning, the evening before that bomb went off at the airport, just as we were leaving. But, you know, it's political very much in the sense that, you know, culture... In times of difficulty, culture can shine a light in the way going forward, you know, and it's very important to keep culture alive because it shows people different aspects of what they imagine situations to be. You know, with Africa Express, you know, we're bringing a different vision of what people imagine African music to be about, and with the Syrian orchestra, you know, it suddenly go, oh, wait a minute, there's more to Syria than war. You know, it's, yes, there's this huge cultural history of which this is a tiny little representation, but we're trying to keep it alive, you know, to show people that there's a, you know, we're connected by music. I mean, sorry if this sounds a bit hippie, right? I am a hippie, right? But we are, you know, music is the thing that can very easily connect people and take people out of their box a bit, you know? And if you bring something very special to them, that's going to perhaps sow a seed in their minds that opens their minds to think differently about the other. You know, aren't Syrians scary, right? Wow. You know, they're some of the most amazing people, and spending that incredible time with these fantastic creative people, it was a big reminder to me again about how music can break all of those attitudinal barriers down.
Yeah. Thank you. Ivan, could you imagine running a festival without a more society-related political message in it?
Like some other festival, or like Exit Festival without political note?
If you already do so, you can tell us. If you,
let's speak about the Exit, because Exit started as a political, and we are still political, even if we are not belong to any political wing, like left or right or whatever. And that's why we are maybe biggest threat for all of them. They see us as a threat, and most of them are trying to shut us down in political campaign before they got elected. But once they got elected, they find the way not to shut us down. You know, because like it's the only thing like which is actually attracting lots of international visitors to come to Serbia, and there's not many things doing that. We have like a tennis player, Novak Djokovic, and Exit, and nothing else, you know. And so after they came to the power, because in these 17 years many political options were changed. Like, you know, every 4 years we got the elections, but still the youth is coming to our festival, and that's like already a couple of generations young people coming to Exit Festival. And it's really important, and I'm really glad that we are still independent. We are not belong to anyone. And we are supported by Republic of Serbia, by county, like a regional county, and city. And it's like different things what they are supporting. They are not supporting music program and ticket sales, but they support, like, for example, for the locals to have cheaper ticket to get to the festival. It's quite cheap. Like for the locals, it's like around €50 for 4 nights, which is separation for the tickets, and for locals and international because of the subventions we are getting. But on the other side, we help the city with a project to apply for to become 2021 Capital of Youth, and Novi Sad will become Capital of Youth in 2021. Whole application was worked by Exit team.
Great. Congratulations.